Hey, what's going on, everybody? Thank you for coming back to another broadcast over here at the Ellis Network. Now, there's something that happened today that I really want to talk to you guys about, and it's involved within the United Nations and President Trump's acknowledgement with the United States, looking at Jerusalem as the capital of Israel. Now, we've known about 3 weeks since this has happened. There's been a lot of animosity between nations. Um, Palestinians been rioting. Gaza has been shooting rockets off into Israel. Even, there's been protests worldwide over this decision. Now, you remember I think it was last week, I brought out how Erdogan was going to call for the Muslim nations to call an emergency meeting. Well, that emergency meeting took place today at the United Nations General Assembly emergency meeting, and they met with multiple other nations, countries, to talk about this decision from America. And it went in the vote, and 128 countries voted for the UN to reach out to the United States to withdraw Jerusalem's decision. Now, we do know that, Erdogan, like I said, he's called on other Muslim nations and the Muslim committee to get a hold of the United Nations. Ever since, if you guys go back in the history, you know a little bit of the past of Israel, Jerusalem, Palestinians. Back before the United Nations was called not United Nations, they was the League of Nations. I mean, this is like early 1900s. So, as it became before it came the United Nations, this hasn't been discussed very much. They came up with that two-state solution. I believe it was in 1961 or 1967. I don't have the exact numbers here, but that was the last time that they really talked about Israel, and that's when they decided to put the two-state solution into play. After the League of Nations promised to give Jerusalem back to the Israeli people. So that's why there's been a whole bunch of fighting going on over Jerusalem and over land within Palestinians in Israel. It's been like a land grab. It really started becoming really mainstream when Israel was starting to build houses in uncharted territories that wasn't supposedly theirs. So anyways, we know that President Trump's come out and said that America will recognize Jerusalem as the capital of Israel. We know that President Trump's going to move the U.S. Embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem. And not only that, but Turkey's even now considering moving their embassy, the Turkish embassy, to Jerusalem as well. So no doubt is there going to be some kind of friction there. But I seriously think we're about to get into a lot of friction way before this. Again, like I said, the United Nations, they all met in an emergency meeting today. The UNGA is what they're called, the United Nations General Assembly, with other nations, and they voted against acknowledging Jerusalem as the capital of Israel. They leaned more towards sympathizing with the Palestinians. Now, with that being said, my opinion here, guys, and this is just my opinion. I wasn't even going to talk about this in the video. But with that being said, we know that Palestinians been rioting and calling for days of rage and being very violent. We know that Palestinians, and no doubt everyone that's involved, whether it be Hezbollah or the Houthi rebels or anything over there in Gaza, has been firing rockets into Israel. So no doubt does the UN support that. Now, we know Nikki Haley. Most of you guys know Nikki Haley. She's the ambassador to from the United States to the UN, and she's very vocal. She's from South Carolina. She's a little firecracker, a little southern firecracker. I love Nikki Haley in the UN. I think that was a very good choice with President Trump with that move. We've heard her being very vocal within North Korea. And also, recently, she's been very vocal with the United Nations about Iran and the nuclear deal. And once again, she has made her point clear to the United Nations about President Trump's decision with Israel. And this is what she has said. Give me 1 minute. You guys know my PC. There's going to be 3 articles that I'm going to post. 2 of them is talking about the General Assembly meeting. and the other one's going to be more of Nikki Haley's side, you know, really talking about what she went through. So I'm going to try to bring, you know, the story out to you guys. But, you know, as big contributor to the UN, the United States expects respect for its decision. U.S. envoy Nikki Haley has said, adding that Washington will remember the day when it was singled out as an attack. Let me scroll down here real quick, and I'll get you the whole speech of what she said. But she's a woman. She goes in this UN, a room full of men, leaders, and she puts her foot down. She does not take any crap. Again, my PC is running really slow. I've scrolled down the page twice, and it's still running very slow. I got videos trying to play on it as well. But we have heard President Trump, you know, talk about the United Nations and leaving NATO. And, you know, he's been on a kick about how everyone, you know, no longer is everyone going to expect a handout from America. If you want America's help, you're going to pay for it. And it sounds like no doubt that this is what Nikki Haley's trying to, you know, get her point out to the United Nations, how everyone wanted to vote against the United Nations. But when it comes time to accept, you know, contributions, how they always come to America first, because America is the biggest contributor to the UN. And other nations want America's help as well. So all these countries that ask for America's help, how they voted against America and President Trump's decision on this, they've taken their names. Next time you guys need America, you're going to pay up for it. No more free rides, no more discounts. You're done. And that's basically what Nikki Haley has said. And this is what she said entirely. The United States will remember this day in which it was singled out for an attack in the General Assembly for the very act of exercising our right as a sovereign nation. Haley told the UNGA session, we will remember it when we are called upon to once again make the world's largest contribution to the United Nations. And so many countries come calling on us. They are so often do, to pay even more and to use our influence in their behalf. So no doubt, guys, this is something really to pay attention to. We know how a lot of, you know, the world nations, world leaders look at President Trump and try to go against his grain. You know, they were just talking about right before this tax bill. There was 5 European nations that was reaching out to Trump, you know, talking to him about not to pass this bill because, you know, it doesn't go, you know, with the game plan. You know, what, you know, we need to be, you know, I can understand there's a whole global thing that's going on, but we also need to worry about what the American president does for the American people financially. I mean, I can understand maybe it fucks up trade routes for you guys, but, you know, you guys are so used to winning for the last 30 years and ripping the American people off that President Trump's finally given back to the American people, and it's driving people nuts. I don't know. I can only speculate. But like I said, it's just crazy how much politics going on here in America. Every other nation has to say something about it. The American president is making a tax system for the American people, which keeping money in the country instead of flowing out. Again, guys, that's just what I think. I'm going to post the links in these articles, let you guys read it. But like I said, this is something to definitely pay attention to. You got a lot of nations angry. And now they put the ball in President Trump's court. It's going to be interesting to see what happens within the next couple of days and what's being said out of the United Nations, out of Israel, out of President Trump, you know, in America. So anyways, guys, I appreciate watching this video. Hit subscribe if you guys haven't. Hit that bell notification for every time I upload a video and you guys can see it. All right, later.